Hi all, and welcome to the Azure Stack HCI introduction of the new Azure Stack HCI. We will begin in just a short while once most have been able to log in. Okay, so welcome to the Azure Stack HCI presentation, introducing the new Azure Stack HCI. I am Lars Heinelt, based in Copenhagen, and I am the Nordic OEM Category Manager, and I will take you through this presentation. Just see. First off, let's quickly look at the Azure Stack portfolio to get an overview of the Microsoft offerings. So Azure Stack HCI joins the growing family of Azure Stack products, with Azure Stack Edge offering Microsoft issued hardware that connects on-premise solutions to the cloud through Azure Cloud Connection, providing machine learning at the edge of customer on-premise solutions. And Azure Hub offering the perfect solution for server environments with limited or unreliable access to the internet or public cloud, thereby enabling workloads in disconnected scenarios. With Azure Stack Hub, you can run cloud services on-premise. You can run Azure IaaS and PaaS services on-premises to consistently build and run cloud apps anywhere, managed with the Azure portal on-premises. With Azure Stack HCI, you run virtualized workloads on-premise, managed with Windows Admin Center and familiar Windows Server tools. So you can also connect to Azure for hybrid scenarios like cloud-based site recovery, monitoring, and others. Customers wanting to upgrade from Azure Stack HCI to Azure Stack Hub can migrate their workloads from Azure Stack HCI to Azure Stack Hub via Azure. So if a customer already bought an Azure Stack system, this is still an investment worth making, seeing that the Azure Stack Hub, formerly known as Azure Stack, is the Microsoft solution for running Azure services as a cloud on-premise. For the parts of your IT estate that needs a cloud experience, self-service and tooling and other services, Azure Stack Hub is the best solution. For the parts of your IT estate that needs to run more like traditional server infrastructure, adding Azure Stack HCI solutions as needed is now a great option, and with even more hybrid capabilities and subscription models, and as a subscription model. So at Microsoft Inspire 2020, Microsoft announced our new operating system from Azure Connected HCI customers. This new OS is, it's the evolution of Microsoft Windows Server-based Azure Stack HCI program, and an existing, and it's an exciting development for all our customers. In this presentation, I will address the most common questions around the new offering and try to compare Windows Server to old Windows Server data center-based HCI to the new Cloud OS, positioning and sales guidance for all resellers. So Microsoft launched this operating system in December 2020, like 2 weeks ago. And I think that our hardware windows will launch their integrated system from Microsoft Azure Stack HCI in the beginning of the calendar year 2021. So what is the new Azure Stack HCI OS? So let's start with what Microsoft and partners have in the market already as an Azure Stack HCI solution. So Azure Stack HCI is a hyper-converged Windows Server 2019 cluster that uses validated hardware to run virtualized workloads on-premise. Customers can also optionally connect to Azure services for cloud-based backup, site recovery, and more. Azure Stack HCI solutions use Microsoft validated hardware to ensure optimal performance and reliability. The solutions include support for technologies such as NVMe drives, persistent memory, remote direct memory access, networking like RDMA. In order to run Azure Stack HCI, the solution basically combines several products. So we have the validated nodes from our different hardware vendors. Then we have the Windows Server 2019 Data Center Edition. Then we also have included Windows Admin Center, storage migration services, and Azure services as optional. So moving forward, Microsoft has announced a new operating system based on Windows Server. So this is specifically optimized for hyperconverged infrastructure environments, which can be defined as a host platform integrated with Azure from Microsoft, running Windows or Linux virtual machines on-premise, and utilizing all the familiar tools. This is delivered as an Azure subscription service. So Azure Stack HCI will always be up to date and can be installed on customers' choice of server hardware. And it easily extends to current infrastructure with Azure Hybrid Services for monitoring at scale, backup, and more. So let's take a quick look at the core pillars that Azure Stack HCI is built on, which is Azure Hybrid by design, enterprise scale, and price performance as the familiar management operations. With Azure Hybrid by design, we of course are talking about Azure Stack HCI being born and designed for the hybrid solutions. It is an Azure service and should be thought of as an Azure service. Customers can monitor and manage the clusters at scale from the Azure portal, and customers can manage the host and VMs side by side and connect seamlessly to other hybrid services like Azure Security Center, Azure Backup, and Azure Site Recovery, which is all natively integrated and easily onboarded and provisioned. And as a service, you also get unified billing, leverage Azure support plan that is already integrated for other cloud workloads on Azure. And finally, it provides the regular and consistent features and security updates like with any other Azure service. And one more thing, which is very, very, very critical, is the benefit that you receive with the new Cloud OS. Is the inclusion of the extended security updates for those customers that are currently running Windows Server 2008 or older versions as part of the subscription. So the second pillar is all about enterprise scale and price performance. Azure Stack HCI is ready for IT environments of all sizes. So you can scale from 2 nodes up to a multiple set of nodes or units. So it basically meets the needs of all enterprise or as well as small and medium businesses. It also has a simple and flat monthly subscription model to manage the costs by easily scaling up and down, thereby reaping the benefits of the infrastructure options best way possible. It is an optimized for high performance workloads as SQL Server and supports both Windows and Linux with virtualization platforms. IT management can basically build on their familiar and all the knowledge they already have on Azure, Windows Server, and Hyper-V in order to manage and operate the Azure Stack HCI, which is basically the foundation for how Microsoft has built the Azure platform, right? So Microsoft plans to deliver this new HCI OS program with its partners via 2 offerings. First of all, we have on the left the Azure Stack HCI, which is built on validated nodes. So basically, partner validated servers, HCI nodes with the new Cloud OS. Not all hardware vendors will participate in this type of offering, but most will. Looking on the right, we have the old Storage Basis Direct, Azure Stack HCI, which has come to know now, and now it's like the Windows Server integrated systems. So basically, partner productized server HCI nodes with new HCI OS integrated deployment and lifecycle management experience, and a pre-installed HCI OS on the nodes. And this product will be made available in the beginning of the calendar year 2021, and it will only be offered on validated node. So why is Microsoft releasing a new HCI OS? Well, the new HCI OS is a clear testament of Microsoft's focus on the hybrid infrastructure and a clear indication of the importance of HCI to transform on-premise infrastructure. Creating a new operating system with a different release model allows Microsoft to decouple feature development from the Windows Server long-term service branch that requires stability for enterprise customers. In order to accelerate delivery of HCI features and provide the best experience for this growing customer base, a separate branch based closely on Windows Server 2019 has been created and will be maintained with a different release cadence. Additionally, tight integration with Azure opens new use cases such as Azure Hybrid Services and management that can be extended to on-premise environments. Annual releases will provide a predictable schedule for new HCI features and will not disrupt the Windows Server-based customers that prefer less updates. So as a note, many enterprise customers require significant validation effort for their environment, giving changes to a hypervisor, right? So, and how is this new HCI OS different from Azure Stack HCI with Windows Server 2019 that we already know? While Windows Server 2019 provides a rich feature set and simple licensing model for running a hyperconverged solution, the new Azure Stack HCI OS brings new features and new business model. The hypervisor Azure Stack HCI OS, also known as the host OS, includes new features such as stretched clusters, faster rebuilds, and these will not be available in Windows Server 2019. Unlike Windows Server traditional licensing models such as OEM, etc., Azure Stack HCI OS will only be available as an Azure subscription. The HCI OS can be installed free of charge, but it does have a monthly subscription billing associated with it. So new features available will be made available in the HCI OS, like stretch clustering, deployment, upgrades, integration into VAC, affinity and anti-affinity rules, Azure portal integration, etc., etc. The HCI OS no longer allows all server roles that are found in Windows Server 2019. Previously, since the host OS was 2019, all servers were included at the host level as well. In order to run these new services in the new OS, you'll need to create a client virtual machine and install Windows Server 2019 and run the services from that system. Many customers choose to run services in virtual machines already, and Windows Server 2019 data center licenses are still able to be used for all virtual machines on the node, so just as long as all the cores are licensed, right? And to another note, hardware vendors will continue to develop tools that works with Windows Admin Center, but minor differences will be found based on the different operating systems. So is Microsoft taking away software-defined features from Windows Server? No, we're not. Windows Server will continue with the current software-defined features such as Hyper-V, Storage Basis Direct, software-defined networking, etc. There are no changes to the available offerings from our existing hardware vendors. Longer term, however, additional new features related to HCI will only be added to Azure Stack HCI and not to the Windows Server 2019. So what is the hardware vendor's position on the new Azure Stack HCI OS? The Azure Stack HCI OS solutions are based on Windows Server, and releasing the new Azure Stack HCI OS is basically the next logical step in the maturity of this solution, and it supports supports the hybrid on-prem infrastructure solution from all our hardware vendors. Coinciding with Inspire 2020, most hardware vendors also announced their new validated nodes portfolio with integrated hardware for running Windows Server 2019. Building on the success of Windows Server-based offerings, the new HCI OS will provide a unique hybrid HCI solution for customers to make the best of on-prem infrastructure transformation, along with utilizing Azure public cloud services and management. Validated nodes with Windows Server will provide customers another option for creating the perfect hybrid data center. Hyper-V customers now have the option to receive the benefits of lifecycle management with all the benefits of OEM hardware support and deployment. So will the new HCI OS be available as an OEM software, which is an important question. So by OEM software, we typically mean like software that is a software license that is bundled and pre-installed on the systems. Since this new OS is a new model, we need to answer like both parts of that question. Azure Stack HCI OS will be an Azure subscription. There will be like no OEM license for the HCI OS. And Windows Server 2019 OEM will still be available as a secondary OS attached to that HCI OS. So basically licensing as a guest OS and licensing the virtual machines on the infrastructure. Different hardware vendors are making efforts to include that HCI OS subscription as an option via their respective Microsoft CSP program. But until further notice, the new HCI OS will only be available on selected validated hardware and not on a general purpose platform. It will only be available on validated nodes that will be listed in the Windows Azure Stack HCI catalog for the HCI OS. So will our hardware vendors be offering both Windows Server and Azure Stack HCI OS on validated nodes? Since validated nodes are the building block for all Microsoft-based HCI solutions, this means that OEMs will continue to sell their current validated nodes with Windows Server 2019 based Azure Stack HCI solutions. For new HCI OS, hardware vendors will curate select validated nodes that are best suited for the HCI feature set, and will offer them as integrated systems, enabling simplified deployment and lifecycle management features. This is to ensure the best possible experience for all our customers regarding deployment and management of Azure Stack HCI, as well as utilizing new features. So integrated systems on new OS will require additional validation and are likely to require faster components to support new features such as stretch clusters, for which hardware vendors will provide the most optimal configuration. So what will be the difference between nodes running Windows Server 2019 versus nodes running Azure Stack HCI OS? Validated nodes running Windows Server 2019 are very similar to the validated nodes running Azure Stack HCI OS. The main differences are the licensing options, the features available at the hypervisor, and the future development and roadmap of each of those two products. Both options will still provide end customers with HCI capabilities, lifecycle management tools for simplified operating drivers, like validated configuration and world-class support. Validated nodes with Azure Stack HCI OS will offer incremental ease of deployment and end-to-end updates of Azure Stack HCI OS, as well as node hardware for drivers. So the new Azure Stack HCI is not a replacement of Windows Server 2019 data center, and we still have a huge and growing customer base for whom Windows Server is the perfect solution. And hardware vendors providing Azure Stack HCI specific support and deployment service, and they will continue to support Azure HCI configuration nodes running Windows Server. Waiting for the new Azure Stack HCI might be the correct answer for some customers, but if a targeted configuration is chosen now, the licenses purchase now will also be available if the customer upgrades when new features are available. So what is if you look at like upgrading from previous Windows Server versions, customers will not be able to perform an in-place upgrade to the new OS. Microsoft requires an entire reinstallation of the environment. If upgrading a production environment, all resources need to be migrated off the cluster. Complete installation of new OS on all nodes, then recreate the cluster, and then move resources back to the upgraded cluster. HCI support will only be available on selected validated node configurations, so customers needing the new HCI OS should consider creating a new cluster based on the targeted validated node configurations. And to just emphasize again, customers currently running Windows Server 2008 or older versions will benefit from the inclusion of the extended security updates for existing Windows for those licenses, and that as part of the subscription of the new Cloud OS. So that's all included. If a customer wants to run Azure Stack HCI in a disconnected scenario, so if they want to run totally disconnected scenarios, validated nodes Windows Server 2019 will be the better option, because the new Azure Stack HCI OS will not support fully disconnected scenarios. HCI, as an Azure product, it will require connectivity with Azure on a monthly basis. If we look at the licensing model, so this is for the new Azure Stack HCI, and we have in this scenario we will have the hyperconverged infrastructure, and we will have the host subscription as the Cloud OS being the host, and then we will have to license all the virtual machines as shown in this picture. So basically, there are three options. Either they choose to opt in on a Microsoft platform, and therefore they will need to purchase in either standard or data center licenses to license the virtual machines, depending on the need of virtual machines. But they can also choose to run a Linux open source platform on their virtualization, and then they will only have to run the subscription model with the Azure Stack HCI Cloud OS. So the Azure Stack HCI is an Azure service, and the price for the service will be $10 per core per month. So there are like three components needed for customers to be able to purchase Azure Stack HCI. So they need a hardware infrastructure with validated nodes, a minimum 2 nodes with support and services. They need an Azure subscription for the HCI OS, and an Azure support contact. I just brought in a list of, and not exclusive, but not exclusive to this model, but these are some of the offerings we have from our hardware vendors in regards to what we can provide as validated nodes. See here. So to be conscious of the time, I just quickly want to run through some of the key questions we have received in regards to this new launch. So many people are asking, is Windows Server dead now? So absolutely not. Customers will continue to use Windows Server as the multi-purpose operating system to run many of their on-premise server workloads, as well as many of their virtual machines in public clouds. In addition, Windows Server technology powers Azure and Azure Stack Hub and the new Azure Stack HCI solutions with Hyper-V, storage spaces, RAID, etc. So this is not a repackaging of the Windows software-defined data center features, but instead like a redesign of the host software coupled with a new subscription model that brings new functionality to the host. And the HCI features like storage space direct, software-defined networking will also be included in the next upgrade of Windows Server, as will be the Windows Server vNext launched in autumn 2021. So, what are the compelling new features that should influence end customers to purchase this new product versus same deployment using Windows Server 2019? At the feature level, there are the following differences, like stretched geo-cluster, ability to view HCI fleet in Azure portal, new HCI cluster deployment wizard, self-service virtual machines through Azure Arc, and continuous firmware drivers, BIOS updates for the integrated system form factor. Although some OEMs already offer lifecycle management for simpler deployment and update features, of course. Can you connect a cluster based on the new product to an Azure public cloud? Well, once the public integration with Arc is complete, you will be able to connect a cluster based on this new product to a non-Azure public cloud. Practically, the easiest way to benefit from public cloud service is through Azure with the integration that exists already in Windows Admin Center. HCI clusters based on Windows Server 2019 and clusters based on this new SKU can be managed by the same tool using Windows Admin Center and System Center. In regards to System Center, Microsoft is currently looking to continue upgrading RAC capabilities to provide all features found in System Center. However, not all validated nodes are supported with System Center at this point, but it is on the roadmap. So support for System Center will still be available directly from Microsoft. Let me see. So, in brief, let's just quickly recap before ending this. Of course, if anyone has additional questions, you can do that as well. So to recap, what is Azure Stack HCI basically? So Azure Stack HCI is hyper-converged infrastructure stack. In other words, software from Azure that includes our latest hypervisor with built-in software-defined storage and networking to install on your servers. This is delivered as an Azure hybrid service. It's monitored, supported, licensed, and built from Microsoft Azure. And if customers already have an Azure subscription, it's very easy to get started, and there's no upfront license needing to be purchased. And then it's familiar for IT to manage and operate. They can run the Azure Stack HCI on any choice of hardware from any preferred vendor, and continue using the tools and processes that they have get to know with when they have previously managed virtual machines. So yeah, so basically looking at it, we have the option of running integrated systems with the previous Windows Server 2019 enable HCIs. We have also the opportunity to run now where the old Windows Server data center basically was the the host OS licensing all the virtual machines. Now we have also the opportunity to run with the new Cloud OS as the host OS, and then license virtual machines either through Linux on a Linux platform or on a Microsoft platform with Windows Server 2019 data center as the guest OS. So basically, that was all from me. Let me see. And if there are no questions, I will end the call now and say thank you for your time, and yeah, have a nice day.